Hi, my name is Vivian, and for those who are new here, I just graduated from Harvard's Learning, Design, Innovation, and Technology program at HGSE. I graduated May of 2022, and I wanted to make this informational video because this would have really helped me out when I was deciding whether or not to join this program. When I joined, it was the first ever cohort for this new program, so it started fall 2021. And there's just a lot of things I wanted to share for those who want to make more informed decisions on whether or not this program is for you. And for those who've been following my channel for a while now, I know that I have not uploaded in a while. I'm so bad at it, but I'll explain everything in following videos. I just feel like this video is more urgent for coming cohorts. Yeah, okay, let's get into it. Okay, so what is LDIT? I will pull up a screen share of what the program says on their official website. The full name is Learning, Design, Innovation, and Technology. It's one of the 3 programs in Harvard's Graduate School of Education. I'll link everything on the description box as well. What really drew me was the career pathways. Okay, I will highlight it. There's a list of it and I'll put a screenshot here. So for the career pathways, it included a lot of things, a wide range of options, including instructional designer, learning technologist, product manager, user experience designer, project manager, etc., etc. There's a bunch of them. So for me, the main reason that I applied for grad school is to switch career paths into a product designer, and so a lot of them is HCI, Human Computer Interaction programs, and some famous programs are like CMU and UW. Those are the top-notch programs, and I applied to those but got denied. I got into NYU for something very similar, but it's a 2-year program, and I also got into UMich School of Information for their product design program, but that's also 2 years. Originally, the reason I even considered Harvard Graduate School of Education is because when I was back in Taiwan, I was exposed to education, and I never was exposed to that when I was in the Silicon Valley. And so I realized, oh, ed tech is pretty interesting. And I looked at some programs, and there was Stanford's ed tech program, there was Harvard's ed tech program, and then there was MIT's Media Lab. And they had a lab called Lifelong Kindergarten. And they only take like 1 or 2 students, if they take any at all. I didn't get into the Stanford one. I think the cohort is about 10 people. And I did not get into the MIT one. There was only 2 people this year. But I got into the Harvard one, and I want to tell you how big our cohort was this year. I believe it was close to 200 people, plus or minus 20 people. I prepared a few questions that I get asked a lot through LinkedIn or prospective students when they're deciding. So first, I just kind of answered, but the class size is around 200 people. And second, the relationship you can build with faculty. So I would say that it's pretty easy to build a relationship with faculty at HGSE. Professors will literally give you time as long as you ask. They also have their calendar invite that you can just book time with them. I would say they're all super open to helping you, and I would say that they actually want to invest in your success as long as you reach out to them and are proactive about it. I would say it's really easy to build a relationship with them. They're not like Harvard Business School or business school where they have thousands of students and everyone's trying to reach out to them. HGSE is a more small and intimate school, and I think professors in the ed industry, they tend to also be more, educational, and they want to help you. And so I would say this is a good part if you're looking to build a good relationship with faculty, if you're looking to apply for a PhD or research positions afterwards. And some of them also have a lot of industry connections since they have been in this industry, tech industry or education industry for a while. The third question that I get asked a lot is whether this program is more theory-based or practice-based. And this is super important depending on what you want. This program is super theory-based. I came in expecting to have a lot of practice and technical skills like using softwares and building portfolio projects. And I would say that that did not happen. Even though I tried to look for those classes, they just did not really exist within the Harvard grad school ecosystem, and they didn't really exist in MIT's ecosystem as well. Because my main goal was to become a product designer, HCI, user experience, the closest thing you could get to is classes that are more user research focused, where you create a survey, analyze it, just learn ways to build survey. However, that was not super useful to me because I wasn't trying to do UX research, and also I've taken these courses in undergrad at Berkeley, as well as my last previous job. It was also kind of related to this, so I didn't learn a bunch, or yeah, it wasn't super valuable to me. So now moving on to comparing LDIT at Harvard with other programs, I would say that the UW one and the CMU ones are definitely much more practice-based and more technical skills, where you actually learn sometimes coding, but not necessarily, but definitely like Figma or Adobe, you get a software that you really practice. And also UMich. I have a friend who attended the UMich program that I was considered going, and that program actually matches you with an internship that is basically within their curriculum program. And after that internship, a lot of them get return offers, even international ones, and they get sponsored visas as well. So I think that's super valuable if you want to take into consideration of like what kind of outcome that you're looking for, which leads me to the next question. Is LDIT for you? Well, it really depends on your goal and what you prioritize, right? Do you value time? Does it matter whether it's a 1-year program or 2-year program? Or are you purely in it for the experience of attending an Ivy school and then having the chance to take Harvard Business School courses or MIT courses and just kind of soak in the connection and be super proactive about everything? And also whether or not you're gearing towards academia, if you want to apply for a PhD afterwards. Or do you value more about job perspective as a product designer or something else? Because if job perspective is what you value more, then I would recommend against this program if you have gone into other more technical programs. But another thing that you should also weigh in is time and cost. So this LDIT program is only 1 year. It's around $56,000 for the entire year, whereas other schools' program may be 2 years long, and you spend an extra year as well as extra year of money, right? So using University of Michigan as an example, it's $25,000 per term for an out-of-state student, and so that racks up to $100,000 for 2 years. So that's almost double the amount. So it really depends on whether money or time is a restraint for you. Another thing to note when looking at these programs, if you're an international student especially, is the visa type that you get. So for LDIT, you do get a STEM visa, meaning that you can work for 3 years after without sponsorship. You get a 3-year OPT, and that's important. For me, that's like what I feel like was worth the money. And another thing that you can take into consideration is whether or not you're gonna continue endeavors upon graduation in Asia or in the US. Because in Asia, the Harvard Ivy League name could probably get you into places that you want to be, or just further than in the States. But if you're going to continue your pursuit in corporate world in the US, then honestly, the Harvard name for this program is not as legitimate as you might think, since it's a very new program. And so it doesn't have that level of credibility yet. The last thing you should take into consideration while deciding whether or not LDIT is for you is whether you work well with a really loose structure or really loose program. This program, it's so loose that you could go any direction. Whereas other grad programs, you might have set courses picked out for you, or at least 2 or 3 courses per semester that you have to take, whereas at LDIT you only have to take this one LDIT 101 course in the first semester, and the rest, it's almost like free for all. You grab anything you want. And I realized this is not just unique to LDIT or HGSE. My other friends who attended grad program at Harvard for design school or engineering school also said the same thing, where it's so loose, there's not enough structure, you're kind of lost, and you would need a lot of self-motivation to really follow through the courses throughout the year and deciding what you want. So if you're the type of person who does not do super well on super loose structures, then you might want to reconsider. Okay, so if you're still interested in the program, I recommend you check out the star professors within LDIT community. First, it's Joe Blatt. He kind of helped build the Sesame Street production. He was one of the very first collaborators with Sesame Street, and if you just Google him, he's pretty famous, and he has a lot of connection in that sort of informal learning for younger children. So if you're interested in that, definitely look into it. The courses he provides, the connections he has. Second is Christopher Dede. He's awesome. He's more technical, where he kind of focuses on AR, VR, gamification of education, and he has a lot of connection with the Chan and Zuckerberg Foundation. I think they're sponsoring his work, and he's also working really closely with them, maybe about metaverse and education within there. So that's also something to look into if you're interested more in AR, VR, but then these are all super theory based. Like, you don't learn any software, like I said, Figma or Adobe, Sketch, etc. The last professor I would recommend is Karen Brennan. She's super nice, super awesome. She'll definitely give you the time of the day if you ask her to. She was one of the grad students who came out from MIT Media Lab's lifelong kindergarten. So she kind of worked on Scratch. If you haven't heard of Scratch, here is a screenshot of how it is. So younger students nowadays, they learn how to code through this gaming program, and it's really interesting. Some of her courses utilizes Scratch, and so you get to learn by making, learning by doing. So that's a focus of her study. Now, if you have already enrolled in LDIT or have decided that you really want to go for it, this is yours, then here are a few suggestions for you that you should take advantage of while being at Harvard. A lot of my peers did not know about it, so I wanted to put it out there. Number one, Smith Center room reservation. You should Google it once you get your student ID and everything. It is really nice rooms that you can reserve for, I think, up to 2.5 hours per session, and you should just study there with your friends. It's just a really nice newly built area. A lot of people didn't take advantage of it, but it's just a very nice study area. Number two, Harvard Evening Vans. So this is an app that allows you to get picked up within certain proximity for free around Harvard campus after, I think, 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So maybe if you study till 7 p.m. and you live within the proximity, you can check it on the app. Then you don't have to take the Uber. It's just free bus systems that picks you up and drops you off. So look into that. You want to milk out everything that's free, but you actually pay in the tuition. Third, iLab Ventures. This is Harvard Innovation Lab. Anyone could join to put up a venture, a company, and pitch the program, try to win different things or get funding. You don't necessarily have to go through and set up a company. They just have a lot of resources, and it's a really cool location to access. People from different schools also apply and join. It's really, I think everyone who applies gets accepted, but you have to look into it before school starts. I believe the application is around when school starts, so look into Harvard Innovation Lab. It's pretty cool. Lastly, there is a makerspace in the HGSE building. I believe it's on the 3rd or 4th floor of the Ed School library. In there, you could do 3D printing. There's someone to teach you and go through 3D printing, woodwork, and sewing machines, etc. Just makerspace, physical things. So that's something really interesting to take advantage of. I've never 3D printed anything until I went there, and they teach you how to do it. So I just wanted to give a conclusion of my experience here at Harvard. To sum it up, I didn't learn what I expected to learn, which is UX technical skills and portfolio building. However, I did learn a lot of things that I did not expect to learn, and they're actually super valuable to me still. I think the most important piece for me is that being here and this experience really helped me remove the Ivy League pedestal that I previously had, where people who attended Ivy League are almost godlike and they're just geniuses, especially growing up from Asia. Like the name Harvard, MIT is just like, wow, how can I talk to these gods? Like, it's crazy. However, really being here and having met the MBA students or students from other schools, med school, GSD, public health ones, they're just normal people. And I think that really opened my eyes. Being a part of it really made me realize that this is kind of all marketing and branding. And this change in perspective really allowed me to build a true confidence within myself that I think money can't buy. I think if I had gone to UMich or NYU or even UW or even CMU, you know, they are great top schools in this industry that I'm trying to get into for UX or product design. However, it was not Ivy, and I would still in my head, subconsciously or very consciously, just think that anyone who has a degree of any sort in Harvard or these top schools around the world to be godlike or untouchable. I think now that more of my friends are embarking on a PhD journey, I used to also think people who do their PhD degrees are just geniuses, like I could never do that. But now that I've known a lot, not to say that they're not impressive, they're still very impressive obviously, but then that they're just like me, and it just makes it so much more human and relatable that I almost can't believe how much I was putting them on a pedestal previously. So a lot of my friends will ask me after hearing about my experience whether or not I regret coming to Harvard over UMich, since they kind of guarantee a job for you, right? And the answer is no, which is the reason what I previously said. I think my goggles for Ivy League really shattered, and that's something that I had to go through that could only be achieved if I had attended Harvard. But I might also be biased because I met my boyfriend when I was studying in Harvard. So if I had gone anywhere else, I wouldn't have met him. So I think that kind of influenced my thought process on like whether or not I regret it. I'm just like, no, I don't, because I met my amazing boyfriend. But yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. My plan moving forward is to actually continue finishing off my UX endeavors. I can cover this in another video about where I dedicated mostly just to UX design or product design and my journey. But when I realized that this program wasn't gonna give me the technical skills I need in order to transition to a product designer, I signed up and enrolled in a UX design bootcamp called Design Labs in February. So I was doing that while I was in school, and it's still continuing on. I won't be done with the program until November of this year, and so I'm still working on that. I will keep y'all posted on that journey and how it goes. So if you want a design lab review, I could also share my experience later on, but let me know if you have any other questions. I'm always happy to help, and good luck with your endeavors. Bye!